Hey everybody, I'm going to prepare for a debate topic, and I thought I'd just kind of like put myself out there and show you like my process that I use to go through this, at least like what I've been doing recently. And so I was going to make a video for the 1AC. I thought I'd make some for how I prepare for it as well, because I know that when I was a student that would have helped. So this might take me, twice as long as it normally takes, especially if there's anybody who's watching that you want to like ask a question or anything like that. That's perfectly fine, but I doubt it. I think it's more for the purpose of uh, like creating a record so people could come back and take a look at this later. I'm going to be doing IPDA format, or I'm going to assume that we're giving an IPDA debate. That means I'm basically preparing a 5-minute speech, and the topic is very sort of IPDA as well. The topic that I chose to do for this one is just because I have some fairly good ideas. Is that cats are better pets for humanity than dogs? Okay, so actually, I'm gonna close that out, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a blank slate, and I'm just going to prepare a uh, prepare a first affirmative. Okay, so before the round even starts, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show you like my screen over here as I'm doing this. All right. So before a debate even starts, I have flow sheets ready to go. All right. And let's say I didn't know what if you don't know what the topic is beforehand, you can have something set up like this. Sometimes I even like doing colored columns where the entire column, green and red for go and stop, or af and neg, or typically is the way I like going. And so this column is going to be the 1AC, and I make sure I also have a flow sheet ready for what the negative might come up with, and then it would not be the 2AC, it would be the 1AR. All right, and so I'll probably do it out all the way for it, but then you get your topic, and you see the tabs underneath right here. In fact, what I would do is I would just duplicate that and then get rid of these ones. These ones don't have my See, I even went in there and made this, and then I'm like, I'm going to change it up a little bit, because I'm just going to use the format. So I'll just make another one when I get to that point, right? But having it set up this way, so you have columns ready to go, and you could even make them sort of the same width as you go. All right, here we go. All right, so we got cats are better pets for humanity than dogs. Now for IPDA, the resolutional analysis, I would suggest, I'm even going to do, hold on, view, freeze, the first row. There we go. All right, so there's really 4 points that I suggest you hit every single time on resolutional analysis, and that would be the type of debate, definitions. If it were a policy, the third part would be where I would suggest that you do policy. I'm going to be monitoring. Here we go. And but this is, and you'll see that when we get to the type of debate. So I just kind of like, the most generic way I could think about it is your thesis. So even if it is a policy debate, your policy debate is typically the policy itself is typically the thesis. Okay. Then the criterion. This could be, you could prepare this before the round as well. This could be a template that you are using. In IPDA, you probably can use this no matter what the topic is. All right. So by type of debate, what I'm talking about, the fact value policy divisions, I think that there's more nuance to them, but for the purposes today, that sort of division, this is a value debate. And you can learn the hotkey for, sure, no, they don't have the hotkeys listed right there. All right, I have to figure that out. But for the value debate, you're saying that this resolution is a this versus that format. So it's cats versus dogs, and that is traditionally, typically a value debate. But you can also say that the term better than implies value. It's like, which one do we value more, right? So when you are, and those would just be two really simple justifications for why this is a value type of debate, that you have to compare two different things. This versus that, you're comparing it, the relative value. And I like pointing that out too, relative value, okay? So now we're going to go to definitions. That first part is always really, really easy. Let's insert a row below. Okay. So a lot of people might gravitate towards cats and dogs themselves, but I often find that those are fairly useless terms to define. The terms that you need to define in a debate typically are the ones that are the ones that are most vague or are the most open to interpretation. So the interpretation of things like pets and humanity are things that I would focus on a lot more. Like, if you want to, like, what are you going to do? You're going to find the scientific name for cats. How does that affect the debate at all? The things that are going to affect the debate are pets and humanity. And we already pointed out that better than is something that implies a value, right? The word better. So if you want to define that, that's fine, but I think we'll do that in a criterion. You got to think of this functionally, everyone. All right, anyone who's watching this, you got to think about, how does this affect the debate? And if it doesn't affect the debate, then why are you putting it in there? All right, so it's like pointing out that dogs are canines and cats are felines, I don't think is going to be a major point of contention in the debate. But what does pets mean, and what does humanity mean? So, like, for pets, now you can go to if you want to just get a dictionary definition. Let me. Domestic or tamed animal. All right, cool. Now, this is a really good definition because it's loaded. All right. Now, I'm going to make sure that if I'm copying it from someplace, I want to make sure that I quote it. And we're just getting this from Oxford. Citing definitions isn't kind of this, I don't think that you necessarily have the same sort of rigor that you want to, but I just want to show you can do that. You could point out that it's Oxford Languages if you want to. All right, because anytime that you are using somebody else's information, you should give them credit for it. But like dictionaries, maybe you could be a bit more relaxed on that one. Let me format this so we wrap our information. All right. So why is that important? Because that means, I think what that does is, okay. So what that does is the terms like domestic means that, okay, we're not talking about lions and tigers. Those are not domestic cats. All right. We're not talking about wolves. it really does sort of put parameters around what you could talk about. So a domestic or tamed animal, maybe you do have a tamed tiger. I don't know. That opens up the door now, right? But the kept for companionship and pleasure, that has the opportunity in the debate for, like, let's say that your opponent wants to bring up the fact that dogs are used as service animals. You're like, well, a service animal isn't kept for companionship or pleasure. That's more of a side effect of what the service is for that they're providing, right? And so you might have a leg to stand on when it comes to excluding some of the service animal arguments, and if you want to do that if you wanted to, all right. I think it's an interesting part of the debate that is potential. I don't think I'm going to go over that though. I got an argument that I think I want to go for. Okay. So they're kept for companionship and pleasure. Yes. And I think the reason that you do that is to exclude wild animals. All right. Let's insert another row. Okay. And then we're going to do humanity. So humanity, you could go with, now remember, you don't always have to do a dictionary definition, okay? So, but let's see what the dictionary has to say. Sometimes it's, not always the best. Human beings collectively. Okay, so I think that one doesn't offer a whole lot. Humanity, best for humanity. So this one you can start like leading your audience a little bit, right? And so I think that is by humanity, I'm going to focus on human survival. See that, like the term human survival is still completely legit and on topic, but what it does is it takes one step toward a strategy that I'm going for, right? I think that so the thesis that I'm going for on this is that keeping cats is better, or is better for survival. I don't know why I have to delete the entire word to rewrite it again, but I just do it. I think, even if there are typos in there, whatever, I'm going to be speaking this, right? All right. So there's my thesis. Keeping cats for companionship is better for human survival than keeping dogs for companionship. Notice how the thesis is really just sort of a reconstruction of the resolution, just by replacing the definitions that you're using. I massage it a little bit, right? I'm not using every single word from the definitions, but I'm putting it back together in a thesis, all right? And so this would be where you would introduce like a policy if we were going that direction, all right? But what you've done is you've taken that one baby step toward a strategy, and now you can lay it out in the criterion. I'm just going to say that cats save more lives than cats save more lives than pet dogs. Boom. And so while I'm not going to write it out right there, but what I'm going to do at that point is say, listen, in this debate, I am going to argue that cats have preserved, that they save more lives overall than dogs do. Okay, I'm going to show you that cats save more human beings and dogs kill more human beings. And so at the end of that debate, if there are more lives on the side of cats, you vote for me. If there's more lives on the side of dogs, you vote for my opponent, whoever my opponent is. You see how, and notice how just taking baby steps. Each of these four kind of take a little baby step, right, toward that ultimate conclusion. And notice how also that could be quantified. We can get a number for how many lives, and you might be thinking that might be impossible, but there's ways to do it, and it's, I think, a really challenging strategy to lay on somebody else, because it doesn't automatically win, right? Like the criterion is fair because both sides have an equal opportunity to prove their case. All right, like if the criterion is which animal kills more birds, that would be like on face biased one way or the other, right? But I think that there's plenty of people who are saying, okay, well, I'd like to hear this. I'd like to hear your reasons why. And so that's one of the things I think you ought to strive for when you're doing resolutional analysis. Not only does the affirmative get the sort of privilege of defining terms, but I also think they get the burden of identifying where the debate is, right? This activity is debate. And so what you need to do is find that debate. Like, where is it? And I think this is one. And I got some decent arguments for it. Okay, so so we're gonna go. Debate is in part of being a good debater, is having a broad picture of the issue, right, based on experience and based on things that you've read. So debate is kind of a lifestyle that you have to take on. But in addition to that, it doesn't come. You can't just start right away and come up with the ideas. So when I come up with these ideas, remember that they've been built off of a whole lot of experience. All right. So my first argument. So I would do argument one, and then I'm going to duplicate this, and we will have argument two. So here's the issue. At 5 minutes long, there's only so many arguments that you can make. And so I'm only going to make two main arguments. The resolutional analysis by itself might take about a minute. And so I'm going to have only, 4 minutes to get through the rest of this. Okay. And so so I'm going to just kind of split it down the middle. I'm going to talk about how many lives cats save, and then how many lives dogs take. And I think that's what I need to do. Right. And so the first one, now here, my first one is pandemics. Now, like I said, I've been working on this one, but I still need to find the evidence for it. Okay. So anytime that you're doing it, and so I like to brainstorm, right? I like to kind of get my big story based off of things that I know are true. Okay, based off of just I make sure I'm well read, and so the things that I know are true, I know I could go out and find. I'm going to put them into a story. Okay, now this. Let me do my best here. Let's say, how about cats kill a lot of rats? See that? Simple. 2, rats carry disease. 3, keeping cats as pets has the bit of killing rats. Let me wrap that one. Wrap. And it could, yeah, I don't know. I could do, maybe I could do it better, but like I said, this is going to be like warts and all, right? It's like I might go back and revise this, but you got to get one of the. Let me get to the bottom of the page here. All right, so uh, I think you can see the point of this argument is that I'm trying to get to the millions of lives number. See, I quantified it, right? I'm just going to say that I just got to find evidence for each one of these things, and I think that becomes a pretty good argument about pandemics. Okay, and so let's go here. And here's something funny. I just did this search a second ago, right? Cats are murderers. Like, that's not the most academic search out there, right? That really that term. But look what comes up. I got the Independent Scientific American. I like this NPR one from just last year. It's the most recent, and look at that. Why cats are God's perfect little killing machines. It sounds like exactly what I need. NPR is a credible source. The time is fairly recent. Okay, and so how, and look at that subtitle. House cats have more impact on local wildlife than wild predators. Good. It's like we got it. Okay, like that's good. And so now you can do like your subpoints, right? Hell, the title is good enough. On how they phrase it, local wildlife and wild predators. Boom. NPR. The date. Now I'm just typing it out. You can copy and paste stuff if you want. I want to write. I'm writing it how I want to say it, though. You know, because when I look down at my notes, I'm probably just going to let that sentence, just kind of read that sentence and let that be the jumping off point for a longer explanation. But it's also like you could do that, especially if you're like crunched for time at the end, right? But you want to. We're not crunched for time, so we're going to look at this. Okay. You look specifically. And at the very least, what it does is it allows me to, have phrases that I could use. Like it ends up being an intense rate of predation. Like I like that phrase. I might use that. Okay. 4 to 10 times the impact of a wild predator. That's a good quantification. And might just mean that we amend this. 4 to 10. That it's still the same source. I put it underneath there. They kill a lot of rats. I'm looking for something that's specifically to rats. Now there's the option. So one of the things back on resolutional analysis, like I'm already starting to think about it because I see that cats bring home a lot of birds, right? And so your opponent might want to change the. See, I'm trying to do direct human survival. If they want to talk about like the effect of killing birds on the environment and then that secondary threat to human survival, that's like I think they're losing on that end, and they're totally fine to go with that. A much more direct route to go would be like to allow birds to be included in the criterion. You'd have to, and you might even put it right here: human lives, then pet dogs. There we go. It helps. See how like you kind of go backwards when you're saying like, oh, there's people. Biologists are horrified by how many birds are killed by cats. All right, I can see that. Okay. All right. Now I'm just going Google. I'm just going Google right here. Like I got databases to go for, but I wanted to really just show you, like you can like whatever pops up. I didn't go for the oatmeal, right? I'm not using comics, even though that's the #1 hit on for my results. I'm going down. I'm looking, and I have to know which sources are credible. And so I'm like, all right, I think NPR is pretty credible, especially if they're talking about, you know, how efficient of killers cats are. The Oatmeal is a perfectly fine publication, but it's more for, you know, comics and stuff like that. So, boom. All right, so where are we? Rats, Carrie. Dude, like, these things are not mind-bending, complicated arguments, right? But when you put them all together, they have a nice story. Here we go. CDC, first one. That's perfectly fine. There it is. Plague. All right. That's all I'm doing. That one. This one I'm gonna this one yeah. I'm going to say 3. Now, keep in mind about the rats carry disease. I'm still going to have extra sort of explanation when I get there, right? It's like that one's easy, but you don't always have. Like I'm already at, you know, about 30 minutes, and I'm only getting through the first one. So like I have the benefit of being allowed to just kind of like talk about this and take twice as long as normal. But you might not have that, right? But you can point that out. And so so how many people died from the plague? We can do Britannica. Britannica's fine. Yeah, I like National Geographic. 2019. Okay. Geez, get out of here. No. I don't want this. But it doesn't say to. Oh, you suck. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's why you do. That's why you do databases sometimes. All right, but yeah, let's just go straight up Britannica. $25. Okay. But it's not enough just about how many died, but Is the plague still around? Okay, there we go. Mortality rates to approximately 11%. So you still like it is. That's not bad. What's that source right there? Healthline. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll go with this one. ABC News. All right. We just say, come on. Is it 2019? Here we go. Last year still exists. 2019. Yeah. Oh, that would have been 2018. Okay. So, wait, where do I see the 11%? Okay. That's good enough. Don't want to get on it, right? Oh, that's where the good the 10% one would be good right there. What did yeah, if you want to do the health line right there, what did it say that mortality rate's 11%? So right, so now look at that. You pointed out that there was 20 million people that died. It still exists. It still has 11% mortality rate even with the best medicine. So that would still you could still say you could still be talking about millions, right? Because 11% of 25 million is still millions. There you go. That's a decent first argument. And you see how it kind of flows together. I had to go back and switch something around. All right, argument number two. Now, my thought was that I don't have this one as well developed, but it was just sort of an epiphany that if you talk about how many lives cats save, you want to talk about how many lives dogs take. And so what that does is it starts off the debate after the first one AC is done, just with the scales tilted toward your side pretty clearly, right? And then it's the burden of the negative to tilt them back. And so if you do it on both sides, then that um, so dogs kill people. Just keep it simple. If you don't have a better way of defining it, then do it that way. Okay. View. We're going to freeze this first row right here. One row. Okay. Now this is all being built off of the like dog attacks. Okay. And so that one bit of information isn't enough for uh, an entire argument. But if that's where it starts, then we say that. But I don't have everything filled out, and so we could do. Hmm. Well, let's just take a look at that and see if something comes to mind when we see it. Okay, Business Insider ain't bad, but it said more likely. $30. Okay. Well, got to be honest. I thought it was a lot more. Oh, what was the date on that one? 2019 ain't bad. Okay, let's make sure we're doing a wrap. Okay, so I need to build out this argument into something that's a bit more robust. Okay, that has, but it's a good start right there. Let's see here. Wait. Oh, in the world atlas. Yeah, the mosquito's most deadly, but okay. Well, I'll cite World Atlas. You notice we're getting a larger number, and especially since we're doing like cats, we're doing worldwide. So I'm just gonna get rid of that world. 25 25,000 a year. When was? Is there a date on this? No. You just have to say that you last accessed it. Still, it says 2021. And it puts them at humans are the second most. All right, cool. All right, so how is it that we can make that into a broader argument? How is it that we could have uh, like maybe we could do maybe we can see how many people are killed by cats each year. See, like it talks about how many animals they kill, but how many deaths from cats? Okay. Uh, See, it only talks about and you can and remember you can talk about how like large wild animal attacks don't get counted in this, and I'm not seeing any. Right? Um, I'm going to go back to that World Atlas, take a look, and just say that they have a list of them, right? And we don't have like the lion, even even if you include the lion, it only kills 100. I don't know. I'm at a loss here. I'm at a loss. So maybe I would talk about how the popularity. Um, what does the world prefer? That's kind of exactly what I'm going for. Country for country, cats have it. Okay, so that actually helps. Is that there are more cats. Um, so but this one is not really flowing as well. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know exactly what my first, second, third argument is supposed to be, but I'm still, I'm trying to do it, take into account. So the cats are all more popular Cats are overall more popular, but dogs are still more deadly. So that what I'm pointing out here is that this isn't some statistical anomaly because there's more dogs and that's why they kill more people. There's worldwide people actually prefer cats because it's probably specifically for keeping the rats under control. And now I'm starting to think that if you go back to resolutional, save more human lives, might even do worldwide than pet dogs. See that? Like as you're going through, you start noticing things that you have to sort of bolster, and you could go back and reinforce things in the resolutional analysis so it works um, throughout the entire debate. I'm struggling to get a fourth point. I would like one because it would kind of make things a little bit more balanced. But if in the event you have to go with just this, um, uh, then I think you're totally fine. Don't forget to um, budget direct. What is budget direct? Let's see here. Oh, these are Instagram posts. Okay. Oh well, I'm still gonna do it. Like it's from February of this year. Not bad. Okay. So I'm going to put that cats are overall more popular. One. Dogs are still more deadly. So they notice how I'm putting the source citation after what they actually said, not what I sort of added to it afterwards. Um, so that one is pretty good. Maybe you can do like fourth point if you um, this is where so I always like to end with like a quantification of impacts, right? As much as possible. And so what I'm trying to do here is like, if you're going to take pandemics into account, that's like, it'll be millions of people, but like it'll be within a certain area of time. Dogs just constantly are just killing 25,000 people year over year, right? Cats don't come anywhere close to that. So first, cats are not killing human beings directly where dogs are. And two, even if we're talking about just a few million people a year that are saved because cats keep rats in line, then even then, all that happens is that every generation that we keep dogs and cats as pets, the number of lives that are saved by cats and taken by dogs gets wider and wider and wider and wider. Okay. Now there could be maybe instead you have fourth deadliest. And so let's say I put this up here. And what I could do is you could do what we call as a spike. Okay. Now, usually they are planned spikes. So I'm going to insert a row above. Boom. I want to keep my color scheme going. Okay. How many? I don't know if this is how many lives are saved by dogs each year. That might be a good one. So the specially trained, like maybe you do so when I'm talking about a planned spike, so let's do that. So notice it doesn't like really flow from one to the other, but service are not pets to this. Okay, that's good. ADA. That's this is so notice that when they come to when they're talking about how many people's lives are saved, they totally get to claim anyone who is scared off because they're breaking and entering and looking to kill someone, right? But I would say that breaking and entering isn't murder, and so like your life wasn't in danger, just your property. But the American with Disabilities Act points out that not pets. And this one was 2010, but that's not something that is necessarily gets out of date, right? It's like whether or not service animals are considered pets is not something that's going to just expire over 10 years or people are just going to change their minds about. Maybe, but not very likely. Okay. Now, like what the GDP is, that changes every year, right? And so that's why you need recent things. But something like this, you say this is the most recent sort of ADA requirements for service animals or clarification. All right. So I'll probably say it better in the actual speech, but you don't calculate the lives saved by service animals. You only do the ones that are saved by pets, and so you're totally legit to claim any lives that were saved by a dog just barking at somebody that meant you harm. But like, how many are there? How do you find that? I can't find it really easily. So search and rescue dog, service animal. 21 times. If I was on the other side, I'd be definitely looking at stuff like this about how 11 ways dogs can save your life. Epilepsy, not bad. Well, if it's trained, though. Seizure assistance, doesn't get it. Exercise, not bad. Like, might be doing that on, like, so I'd be, you want to spend some of your time during the affirmative looking at what the negative might say, especially if they accept your criterion, right? They might actually have really good they should have really good arguments, because it's a really good debate. Like, look at like just the amount of exercise that you get. Yeah, I think that might be good. So the health benefits is how they can help you, but help you kick smoking. A pet. So the smoking thing would be cats also. I'm not going to just give that one away. The exercise one, that's a good argument, in my opinion, right? Is like you have to extrapolate a lot. And so I'm like, listen, you have to, on the affirmative, I'd be saying, we have much more verifiable numbers, right? Whereas you have to kind of guess how many people would be saved. Otherwise they would die if they didn't get the exercise that they wanted. So, yeah. Depression. Cats could do that too. Save you from a burning building. Yeah, I think pet dogs don't need training to, like, yeah, save you from burning buildings. That's a service animal. Service animal. Service animal. Boost your immune system. Cats could do that too. So that helps kind of like know where they might be coming from. But it's Day of the Dogs. Yeah. Okay. But I think I'm a little bit, I'm a lot more comfortable going in there. Notice how I still don't think this flows very well. This is more of a hodgepodge of factoids that are anti-dog. And so I might put the service animals are not pets are right up at number, I might make that number 1. Okay. And then you can move these down to number 2. Yeah, that makes that's at least a little bit better, right? You start off by saying, it's like, all right, let's clarify something. Service dogs are not pets. The American with Disabilities Act makes this really clear in a 2010 publication. They specifically said that they are not pets because they are trained for particular purposes. So any sort of like cancer sniffing dogs or epilepsy dogs or anything like that, we're not calculating those in one way or the other for in this debate. What we're just going to talk about is the number of dogs as pets. Okay, and then you can move on to the second one. So so the first one is really like a spike, and you're waiting for them to bring up stuff, and you're just constantly, it's like, nope, service animal, service animal, service animal. And the great thing is that there aren't service cats. All right. Emotional support is not service. Okay. Emotional support is not the same thing as service. They don't get training to be emotional support. So, yeah, when you're pointing out the dogs get special training to sniff something out or react a certain way or things like that, then those are the ones that are excluded from it. But then now you could just bust in with they killed 25,000 people a year, and even if you took in wild animals like lions, they still, like, it's no comparison. Dogs are the 4th deadliest animal in the world, to to people. I think that I'd be good with that. All right. That would be enough for 5 minutes. This resolutional analysis and 2 advantages would be perfectly fine going into a debate. I think it'd be good to go. All right, everyone. Hey, if you got any questions, even way after the fact, or comments, like you want to do some arguments or something that you think I overlooked or anything like that, don't be afraid to post them up there. We'll take a look, we'll respond or like it or something like that. Okay. I hope this was helpful to anyone watching. See you later, everyone. Bye.